Hi guys, and welcome to your weekly horoscope. This is for Monday the 28th of February going through until Sunday the 6th of March 2022. Thanks for joining me. I'm going to go through each day this week to see what the planets are doing, what energy they create amongst themselves, and how you can use that to your advantage. The important thing about this week, I feel, is to remind yourself to keep your cool and not to get upset about trivial things which really don't matter in the grand scheme of things. So with that said, kind of means to me that this isn't going to be the easiest week of your life, because if you have to remind yourself to keep your cool, then probably certain things are going to irritate you. There's great potential for learning and understanding, but only if you don't allow yourself to be distracted by arguments and pointless conflicts. So Monday, the 28th of February, we've got the moon in Aquarius, forming a conjunction with Mercury and Saturn in Aquarius. So we've got all three in the air sign Aquarius. Air is about ideas and thinking, and Aquarius in astrology is like the number 11 in numerology. 11 is the master number of service, and it says, how can I use my knowledge and skill and experience to help others and to do something for the greater good? So that is supported, but the feeling I get, because the moon in Aquarius is what comes easily and naturally, so it feels good to help others. I want to understand. I want to contribute something useful. Mercury in Aquarius means that when it comes to thinking, you're very unlikely to get the wrong end of the stick. You're able to look at the details, to analyze the information, and to create meaning from it. And then Saturn in Aquarius is about groups of people, institutions, ideologies, belief systems. The feeling I get is that you have a strong desire to belong. And I think that's a warning, because even though you're seeing things so clearly, the desire to be part of some sort of group or team may become stronger than saying, hey, is this actually the right group of people for me? So be very critical with that kind of thing, and don't just be part of something for the sake of validation or support that you get from other people. I think it could cause more problems later on than if you really look at a situation clearly on Monday and say, maybe not. The moon then squares Uranus and Taurus, so that gives you great problem-solving skill. And you're able to look at things in your life that are chaotic or unpleasant. And with those, you can make sense of them and say, how can I manage this more effectively? And then finally, Chiron is in Aries, so your own self-interest is important to you. And that actually helps you because it makes you less willing to engage in anything which is pointless. So it's a complicated day, I feel. The good news is that you're going to find it really easy to communicate and to get your point across. You do stand strongly in your convictions, but like I said, there's this thing of my convictions, or should I just belong somewhere? And sharing ideas is a good thing, but only if it's balanced. So if you get to make your point and listen to other people's. If you're just sitting there being indoctrinated, then I think that's a red flag. And not just on this day, I would say any day. Also, you are so confident, be careful about getting on some type of a high horse. This sense of, I'm always right. And of course, I must be right because I've studied this. And it's a bit too much. And that kind of thing can really bristle with other people and irritate them, so just be careful around that. Just because other people support you doesn't mean they're right or that you're right. And I think that's the key thing to remember. It's don't be so certain of yourself. Nothing is absolute. And if you go out there and loudly announce your views and opinions, and then later on it turns out that you were incorrect, you're going to have to eat humble pie. And none of us like that, so keep it cool in that sense. It's not like zip it, but only, bang your drum if you're really, really sure about what it is you're saying and if you've done your research. Also, if you have an apology to make on Monday, reschedule, okay? You're going to be gritting your teeth, making an apology. It's not going to feel good, even if you were in the wrong, because you're somewhat stubborn here. So that kind of energy with all this conflicting stuff floating around, it can make you somewhat irritable. So with that, it's important to keep your cool as well. Tuesday, the 1st of March. Oh, so we're coming out of winter now and going into spring, so that's really positive. The moon enters Pisces at 9:53 in the evening, so that changes the vibe completely because you're more interested now in spiritual principles and what you're feeling and what could be, and seeing other people kind of on a spiritual level. So it's not, oh, you must be a good friend of mine because you're saying all the right things. It's much more, I respect you because you're a human being just like me and we all have value. So you become much more heart-centered, I would say, on Tuesday. The Pisces sun then also sextiles Uranus and Taurus. And that's interesting because on Monday, where you have this amazing capacity to analyze and to make sense of things, on Tuesday, it's much more about the feelings. It's kind of, my gut says this is right, so I'm going to do it. It's kind of navigating your life via your intuition. So on Tuesday, this strident type of thinking that we had on Monday, that's replaced by sensitivity and compassion. And with that too, it means that you may change your tune drastically. So if you were really lacking compassion on Monday, you may regret that on Tuesday and say, maybe it was a bit much. So, Intuitives, mediums, and artists, pay attention to your creative ideas. They will really have value. And if you focus on practical concerns like work, security, or your finances, you're going to make a lot of progress because you intuitively know how to handle situations. And I borrowed that phrase from somewhere else, if you know where that's from. So do make sure you listen to your instincts. They're not going to fail you, ever, ever, ever. On Wednesday, the 2nd of March, we've got a new moon in Pisces. So I'll make a separate video on this because the new moons and the full moons are important events that give us a chance to start fresh or to have a do-over. And a new moon in Pisces is a contradiction in itself as well, because the new moon is about, let me pull all this energy in so I can pioneer new things. But Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac, and it says, okay, how do I contemplate this ending and then a new beginning? So it seems kind of profound and bigger than it usually would. And the new moon in Pisces then says, do you know what? What are my hopes and dreams for the future? And what do I want to realize? And what do I want to do with my life? So it's a very personal kind of process. The sun in Pisces sextiles Uranus and Taurus. So again, I want to solve my problems in life by connecting to my higher self, to my instincts. And I want to do what's right for me, what feels right, rather than what it says on paper in black and white. You know, so if you're at the lawyer's office and the lawyer says, oh, well, this is just the way we do it. You have to fill in this paperwork and sue the other person, even if it's not acrimonious or something, that's just the process. Then really say, well, okay, that may be your process, but this is my life too, and it feels really wrong to me. So can we find an alternative? And that's important. Because if you don't stick up for yourself with that on Wednesday, I think you'll regret it later on. So a lot is being asked of you. And again, that can make you feel stressed and irritable. So just take it easy on yourself, support yourself, be nice to yourself. Mercury in Aquarius conjunct Saturn in Aquarius. So still the need to fit in. And that's interesting actually, because if the lawyer then says this and I want my lawyer to be happy with me, there's a tendency to say, okay, well, I don't really agree with this, but you're the expert, go for it. I think that's the big no-no. The Pisces moon then conjuncts the sun, therefore the new moon, and Jupiter in Pisces, the lucky planet, expanding your spiritual awareness, and it sextiles Uranus and Taurus. So ask for help from your guides, your angels. How do I navigate my life? Give me this emotional certainty so I don't have to figure everything out, but I just feel like I'm on the right track. So you can really cut through a lot of red tape by saying, I've heard the 800-page argument that you've made, but it doesn't resonate with me, so I'm not going to do it. Thanks. And that's really, I mean, that's freedom in a way, isn't it? Certainly saves you having to read 800 pages. Okay, Wednesday the 2nd of March then is a comfortable day where you're going to have the space to reflect and to make plans for the future. You can also see a way through challenging circumstances that is your specialty on this day. So if everyone else around you is stumped, despite the need to belong and despite the need to fit in, should I speak up here and take a risk? Do ask yourself how you would deal with the situation and listen to what you get intuitively and express that. Being a sheeple is a big no-no in the first 3 days of the week. That's the thing I keep getting warned about again and again and again. And a lot of, I mean, it's not, if you're sitting in a boardroom and everyone's in agreement about what the course of action is, and then little old you has to speak up and say, you're all wrong and I disagree, that's a lot. It's stressful, and sometimes, yes, it needs to be done. But if you can't find the confidence, or if you can't force yourself to do it, again, be kind and look at other ways of speaking up. Maybe after the meeting, you could send an email, or maybe you could take your boss aside and say, I know I didn't say much in the meeting, but I really don't agree with this. So continue to listen to your instincts when making decisions. On Thursday, the 3rd of March, we've got the Pisces moon conjuncting Neptune in Pisces. So Neptune is the water planet of dreams and intuition. Pisces is a water sign. It's got loads and loads of water here. The moon, your intuition, and Neptune, the psychic planet. If you are psychic and intuitive, anything like that, you'll get a lot of good hits on Thursday. The moon then sextiles Pluto, Venus, and Mars in Capricorn. So Pluto is transformation. Venus is new beginnings and love and romance and what is it that I love? And Mars is the soldier and the warrior and drive and ambition. And all of those in Capricorn mean that you can make huge changes to your practical circumstances on Thursday. And with the water of the moon and Neptune, the source material are your instincts, your gut feeling. So with that said, the silver lining of the week that kind of runs through every day is your intuition. The big distractions and the big warnings so far have been arguments and other people and trying to fit in. So the more of an individual you can be this week, the better the outcomes will be. And remember that Capricorn is the sign of the worker, so it can really get things done. It can set goals, it can achieve those goals. So the sky's the limit. Please think big. If it resonates, you can do whatever it is you want, no matter how unlikely it seems. Mars and Venus in Capricorn then conjunct Pluto in Capricorn. So the thing that you desire most and the thing that you love the most is change. So if you've been in some sort of a fog for the last 6 months and everything's come to a standstill, or you abhor change and it frightens you, then on Thursday, throw yourself into the deep end, go with it. Change is going to feel enjoyable and natural. So it's interesting because Wednesday is the day of the new moon. So you're pulling all this pioneering energy in, and then Thursday, you're really off and running. You're super eager to make progress. The earth and water elements on this day, they allow you to redesign your life as it is to suit you. The strident and possibly self-righteous energy that we saw on Monday particularly, that returns to some degree. And rather than being strident and kind of trying to convince other people of you being right or, bombarding people with information, instead, bombard things that are problematic for you. So it's an amazing day to let go of addictions or toxic relationships, anything that's hooked you where you feel like you're powerless and this has really got a hold of me. You can drop that and it's not going to affect you so much because you're willing to change as a person. So anything that seems to define you is no longer as relevant, therefore it has a much weaker influence on you. So again, freedom. And just a side note on Thursday, if you find something to be boring or dull, that's not a justification to attack it. Again, it's important to kind of think before you speak. If you don't want to make an apology later on. And with the thing about apologies, especially on Monday, being so unpleasant, just do yourself a favor and don't even get into that situation to begin with. If you can, obviously. Friday the 4th of March. Yeah, because none of us are perfect. So if you do get into an argument, then okay, fine, that wasn't ideal. But I'm not going to now make it worse by berating myself. On Friday the 4th of March, we've got the moon going into Aries at 1:52 in the morning. So Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. Aries is like a new day. It's sunrise. It's what am I going to do with this day? I have all the potential in the world. It's exciting. It's a fire sign. It says, my life, my independence, how can I create change? So the mood really lifts here on Friday. And then the Aries moon conjuncts Chiron in Aries. So me, my life, my circumstances, my dreams, what am I going to get out of it? And you're not at risk of being distracted so much, but what you are at risk of is becoming a little bit short and intolerant and saying, just don't ask me these dumb questions, please. I don't want to hear it. And that then, if you say that to someone, they'll be upset, and then you have to get into it and say, I was a little bit stressed. I'm sorry I spoke to you like this. It's a waste of time. If you can control yourself, good idea. Friday the 4th, your dreams for the future and plans are what could be replaced by a focus on the present moment. So the whole week, you've been kind of contemplating and seeing how can I redesign my life. And on Friday, it's like, I want to be in the here and now. I'm not so interested in thinking about the future. I just want to have fun and laugh and do something right now. So because of that, it's a great day to make memories, especially in the areas of love and relationships and romance, and a great time to start dating again if you're single. Saturday the 5th of March, we have the Aries moon forming a sextile with Saturn and Mercury in Aquarius, and it squares Pluto and Capricorn. So we have fire, air, and earth, no water, so the feelings aren't going to distract you so much now. So what I want to say then is that Monday to Thursday, remind yourself to take a breath, calm down. But the weekend is, I think, going to be less problematic. Yeah, in terms of feelings anyway. So the Aries moon, I want to move ahead. I want to do stuff. Saturn and Mercury in Aquarius, I understand things, but still I have this need to fit in. So do I analyze things by myself or fit in? I'm saying the first one, analyze and think for yourself. And the square with Pluto and Capricorn, things are changing and I feel a little bit pressured. Maybe I need the security of other people. I feel somewhat vulnerable. So that puts the pressure back on. The Pisces sun conjuncts Jupiter in Pisces. So your imagination is limitless and expansive and vast. And you know what? I watched something on Netflix, that thing everyone's talking about, the Inventing Anna thing. And there was one line that struck my attention. She's in prison and this journalist comes to see her. And she says, there's an infinite amount of money in the world. Which I found interesting because I don't think most people think like that. I think most people think, well, money in the world is what I make from my job or what I have access to. I don't see it as this infinite ocean of abundance. And I thought that was so interesting because the woman in that show is like a con woman and stuff, and she like steals other people's money. So obviously, so thinking that there's an infinite abundance doesn't mean you have the right to steal other people's money, but I like the perspective of it and the actions that then follow that perspective. Because if you say, oh, making £1 is the hardest thing in the world, then you're approaching the whole situation like with this huge burden and saying, how am I going to get this £1? If you think, there's as much money in the world as there is air, then you're approaching the whole situation from a much lighter path, and it's going to have a much different outcome to whatever it is you're doing. Yeah. So on Saturday, the 5th of March, You have this great imagination and the ability to think outside the box. But I think the problem on Saturday is that you again become a little bit strident and that you feel like I'm always right. And I don't know about you, but I've had dealings with people in my life who cannot ever apologize and who are always right. And sooner or later, it does become tiresome, no matter how much you try. And it's not the way forward. And then especially if you are wrong about something and you just are on this little mission, I would be very careful with that this week. So on Saturday, that's the height of this particular energy. Instead of, traipsing around like you're the king of the world, throw it at something that actually causes a lot of resistance and grief in your own life. So a fight that already exists in your life, an addiction or some sort of problem. And if you want to have a breakthrough there's the potential to do it on Saturday. If you do get into it with someone, be a little bit, continue to think before you speak, because I think you can take it to such a degree that you're going to just totally unleash and completely ruin or destroy a relationship or a connection with a place or a thing. Find other ways of channeling your anger. If you like kickboxing or running around, great. The best option, I think, is to avoid negative situations altogether if you can, and to focus on good relationships, love and romance, and having fun and living in the present moment. And then finally, on Sunday, the 6th of March, we've got Mars going into Aquarius at 7:23 in the morning. That's a big change because now your drive and your ambition are also about the greater good and information and learning. It's not just about achieving goals and working yourself into the ground. Venus also goes into Aquarius at 7:30 in the morning. So we're entering a period of appreciation for info and shared knowledge, and you become less focused on your mission in life. So if you want to get stuff done, do it before Sunday because you are on Team You. Venus in Aquarius then conjuncts Mars in Aquarius, and the male and female, when they come together, there's a new beginning. And Aquarius is about ideas, so if you want to be inspired and have that light bulb go off, Sunday is the best time for it. The moon enters Taurus at 9 in the morning, so things slow down a little bit, and you're able to appreciate your circumstances and the beauty you have in your life. It takes the romance and relationship thing to another level. So I think the weekend kind of is good for love and relationships. The Taurus moon then conjuncts Uranus in Taurus. So the Taurus moon, I like my circumstances, I appreciate beauty. Uranus in Taurus is unexpected chaos. So something may rattle you a little bit on Sunday. And it squares Mars and Venus in Aquarius, and you're going to try and think your way through it. So again, I would say be kind to yourself and don't dismiss your own feelings. Things do become more logical with all the air entering the chart and the water kind of exiting. So emotions aren't going to distract you as much as they have earlier in the week. You're logical, you're considerate in your thinking. So with that, education, career changes, and ideas around moving, they're going to take root quickly. So if you have any kind of epiphanies in those areas, do something with them. You find it easy to decide on the changes that you want to make, and then you have a really easy time finding the right information that you need for whatever new venture you've got going on. So as you can see, the energy does a couple of twists and turns this week, so it's just important to be there for yourself and to really say, is this a distraction that's worth my time or isn't it? And to prioritize that way. So I hope that gives you an idea of what you'll be working with this week. In my personal readings, I use astrology, the tarot, and numerology. And to draw up your birth chart, I need your place of birth, date of birth, and time of birth. Once I have that, I draw up a wheel, your natal chart, and that shows me everything about you. It's a blueprint of you, as far as I'm concerned. It shows me things about you as an individual, strengths and weaknesses, talents when it comes to creating an income or what the vocation may be, family dynamics and circumstances, love and romance, physical health, institutions, travel, career, spiritual development. Anything that you can ask, the astrology chart and the tarot really allow me to give you an answer to it. So if you would like a personal reading with me, please get in touch via my website. It's gregoryscott.com. On the front page, scroll down a bit until you get to the book your readings button. Click on that to order your reading with me. And if you like this video, then give it a thumbs up. Please hit subscribe and share the video online. Have an amazing week. And I'll speak to you next week. All the best. Take care.